going on, everyone? This is Chris around the ATL. It is Monday. The month of March is almost over, and I can hear the background music a little bit. Appreciate that. So tonight we're going to be doing a little bit something different. I'm working on trying to expand back to our regular shows where we will do a 2-hour show and talk all of Atlanta sports, both professional and college. So I'm going to be stair-stepping that a little bit starting tonight and just kind of see how it rolls. Now, on the technical side, I kind of wrote this show up, but kind of didn't. I kind of did some stuff kind of last minute. So we'll see how this rolls. Let's switch this music a little bit. Yeah, I like that a little bit better. So first of all, if you're watching or whenever you do watch it, let me know if you do hear the music. Let me know if it needs to be turned up a little bit or turned down a little bit. I'm just experimenting with some stuff here. So tonight, what are we doing? We're talking Atlanta sports. We're going to be talking about the Atlanta Braves. The Braves, again, are hurt at the beginning of the season. Can they make it to June? Not sure why they keep getting hurt at the beginning of the season. It's kind of a regular thing for the Braves fans nowadays. But we're going to talk about that a little bit. We're also going to talk about how do you feel about the Falcons so far? For the most part, you know who's on the roster prior to whoever we end up drafting. So how do you feel now that so-called the dust is settled with who we do have? Let us know. Also, we're going to talk about the Hawks. What will the Hawks have to do to clinch the 6th spot? They're doing something about that tonight. We'll get into that in a little bit. So let's go ahead and start talking about the Braves. And in fact, let's see, is that game over yet? It is the end of the 8th. They just got another run. It's 4-0 in Atlanta. Looks like Dubon hit a single to left center, and Yastrzemski scored. So we got another run. That's good. We'll talk about the Braves starting right now. So, like I said, yearly it seems like. Okay, I'm getting distracted by the cool music. Yearly it seems like the Braves get hurt. The starting pitchers, or you have actual position players, they go down. And I don't know if it's, what is it? I wish somebody could just lay that out on the line, really, because you would think with the history that we do have with injuries, someone would address that. Someone way up here would say, hey, we got to make sure that these guys are ready come spring training, right? We got to make sure these guys are ready come end of March, beginning of April. Because what keeps happening is you have these slow starts, right? And then you have to go gangbusters to get yourself back into it and expend all of that energy to do what? Then kind of fizzle out at the end, right? So can we not have to do that again is what I'm asking. So who do we have on the team right now? So on the pitching staff side, of course, we know what Chris Sale is and what he's going to do. We saw that opening night, right? So we don't have to worry about Chris Sale. But you have other pitchers that we have to talk about. So I want to go over the roster just real quick. This looks like stats. I don't know stats yet. Let's just go over the depth chart. So you have Chris Sale, you have Ronaldo Lopez, Grant Holmes, Bryce Elder currently. Okay. Now we can throw in Fuentes possibly, Jose Suarez, Martin Perez, who we just got. Those are the guys who can actually pitch right now. What we're missing is Joey Wentz, Spencer Strider, Spencer Schwarzenbach, and Hurston Waldrop. Okay. Now Spencer and Hurston they're on the 15-day, so they'll be back sooner than later. Spencer, though, Joey Wentz, that's basically 2 months out. So we're basically talking June, maybe July. And I'll probably repeat this. Remember, when those starters come back, they have a ramp up too, which we have to worry about, right? Which also goes back to the bullpen. Can the bullpen last throughout this period of time? Because what we need out of our starters right now, right? 6 to 7 innings every start. 6 to 7 innings. You can't destroy the bullpen because they have to pitch 4 innings every night. That's not that can't work, right? Now, talking about the bullpen, you got Raciel Iglesias, Robert Suarez, Tyler Kinney, Dylan Lee, Joel, I'm gonna mispronounce this one, Payamps, Aaron Bummer, Martin Perez, again, we just got him, Jose Suarez, and Osvaldo Bido. Now, the only one hurt on the I'm tired, y'all. The bullpen is Hernandez. He's on the 15, though. He'll be back. All right. Now let's talk about position players. You got Drake Baldwin, last year's Rookie of the Year. You got Hine, Sean Murphy, of course, 10-day injured list. So he'll be back eventually as well. Are you going to carry 3 catchers? Not sure. First base, you got Matt Olson. Austin Riley would be the immediate backup. Dubon, the third, and Dominic Smith, who just hit a grand slam, would be your 4th first baseman. Second base, you got Ozzie, of course, and then Dubon, and then Jorge Mateo. Third base, Austin Riley, of course, then Dubon, Mateo again, Kyle Farmer. At shortstop, Dubon is the shortstop as of right now. You got Jorge Mateo, Kyle Farmer. Now, eventually, Ha-Seong Kim will be back. So what do you do when he returns? As he gets, back into it or whatnot. At the end of the day, I feel that we're mildly deep at certain positions, a little bit more than we were a year ago. That's just the feel. Again, we just played 1 series and 1 game so far. Left field, you got Yastrzemski, Eli White, Kyle Farmer. We've seen White a little bit. I don't know if Yastrzemski played tonight. I have to look at the box score real quick. And I'm going to mention it now. Will those two be able to hit enough for left field for us to not have a black hole out there, right? Because that's always, again, when have the Braves had a left fielder that was the guy? Like, when was the last time we had somebody, right? Then in center field, of course, you got Michael Harris. Eli will back him up, and Dubon is, I guess, the emergency center fielder. Then in right field, you got Ronald. Yastrzemski will back him up along with Dubon. Now, your designated hitters, as of right now, Dominic Smith will probably be the main one, but I know they've talked about Drake Baldwin being the DH every now and again, especially probably when Sean Murphy comes back. That could be, if Sean is healthy, I can see them doing that, right? Because Drake can hit, right? So that's basically your lineup as far as, your the 40-man roster for the most part. But like I said, you have a lot of going up and down in the minors. Again, Fuentes just had a great outing, but he just got sent down to the minors because we picked up someone else. So how many times will some of these players go back and forth? That's going to be interesting to see. The thing is, we at least have some options. Now, for me, again, I kind of started this off earlier about Elder. I know tonight, I believe, let's see if I can find it real quick. I know tonight he pitched well. Okay, let's see if I can do box score. Oh, that wasn't tonight. Oh, that's the A's. I knew something was wrong. Hold on. Bryce had 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. He did not give up a run. Now, remember, Bryce Elder is a former All-Star, right? So, again, it's not like he doesn't have the ability at all. It's just that he's not consistent. Like, from in between him going to the All-Star game till now, there's a whole lot of stuff in the middle that's bad. Is very bad in certain cases, right? So, but here we are again. We have to rely on him. If we can get this version of Bryce Elder every night, every 5, starts, sure, why not? To fill in until Spencer and some of the guys come back. So that's going to be a big deal. And what did I say? He gave us 6 innings. So only 3 innings for the bullpen. Overall, maybe one guy, is broken up. Let's see how they did that tonight, actually. Let's go ahead and take a look. if I can. So Bummer, there it is. Bummer pitched an inning. Suarez pitched an inning. Iglesias pitched an inning. No one has to overdo it. They all only 2 of them gave up a hit. They didn't give up any runs. That's a perfect game right there. There it is. Game is over. 4-0 Braves. Okay, so that's important right there. You know, you don't have to worry about anybody getting over leveraged, so to speak. So that's a big deal. Let's see who hit in this game real quick before I finish the Braves up. Let's see. Ronald had a couple of hits. That's good because he hadn't been that first series. He was hitting 083. Not good, right? He had 2 walks. He also had a stolen base. That's a good sign. Drake had a couple of hits. Well, Drake had 1 hit actually. Scored a run. Ozzie had a hit. Olsen had a hit. Raleigh went 0 for 4. Eli, well, he looks like he only had 1 at bat. Yastrzemski looks like he pitched hit. He got a hit. There you go. Dubon went 3 for 4. 3 RBI. Man's raking out there, ain't he? Looks like Kime actually caught tonight. He had 3 at bats. And then Paris, Money Mike went 0 for 4. But so far, so good. I mean, again, we won the first series, 2-1. Won this game 1 of this next series. So we're playing pretty well just to get started. So again, can we hit to get through this period of time where we don't have all of our pitchers? What will Yastrzemski do overall long term? I mean, again, if we can get him in there some pitch hitting in some clutch situations and he can do that from the left side, hey, can't be mad at that. Can we get any power out of left field? Who's to say? I don't know. But if Ronald and Money Mike can do their end, that'll, you know, kind of subsidize things right there. Because really we need Raleigh and Olsen to hit this year together at the same time. If we can get Raleigh to hit as much as Olsen did just a year ago, just on the home run side, we'll be fine. Dubon, he looks like he's hitting. I mean, it could be a fluke, but again, he's hitting so far. So that's what we need out of him. Again, Ozzie with a good start could change things. Again, we've had so many players that year after year have these slow starts. And in spring training this year, it looked like everybody could hit the ball. So that's a big deal. So I'm excited about that. It's just that I hope that we don't overtax the bullpen. Like I said, I know Chris Sale, we're going to get 6-7 innings out of him every start. Granholmes, Lopez. Now remember, Lopez didn't actually pitch last year, but the year before that, he pitched pretty good. 8-5, like a 2 ERA, right? So can you depend on him for this period of time? You know, we're talking maybe, 5-6 starts, maybe somewhere in there, maybe a few more. I don't know. It just kind of depends on how they flow with that. Again, Fuentes, will they have him as a starter? They really like him. We saw him the other day. I think he pitched 3 innings. He was really good. So that's another option. They say they're going to have to wrap him up as far as number of pitches. So we'll see if that will happen or just keep him in the bullpen. Because at the end of the day, if you can have a solid bullpen, that can offset the starters not all doing well all the time. It has to be one or the other. You prefer it to be both. We just have to see what happens. So that's enough Braves talk for tonight. I'm happy that they won. But the next topic we're going to talk about tonight, the Atlanta Falcons. Switch the music. We'll see if let's go to the next. I don't know. No. Okay. No. There we go. All right. So the Atlanta Falcons. So honestly, how do you feel about the Falcons now? Now that I got it. I'm gonna have to find some new music. Now that the proverbial dust has settled, we know pretty much who are in the separate rooms now for the most part. And again, the depth chart is going to change obviously over a period of time. There's still that one black hole that's over our head right now with the legal situation, depending on how that falls out. But here's what we have right now as far as the Atlanta Falcons roster. And hopefully these are all correct. I believe they are. Looking at ESPN at the moment, I barely can trust them, but I think this is correct. So, of course, quarterbacks, we have three. Okay. Penix Jr., Tua, and Trevor Siemian, who's most recently added to the room. At running back, you got Bijan. Now you also have another Robinson named Brian. You have Tyler Goodson and Nathan Carter. All right. Now, by the way, I almost forgot, you got Carlos Washington as well. All right. At wide receiver, here's who we have at the moment. And again, I just don't know if it's enough. Again, we've never really had, and it's been almost 4 years now, where, like, what is the reason why we can't get a good second next to who is clearly our number one in Drake? But we have Drake, London. We have the newly Dotson, who I guess right now is pinned as number 2 from Philly. You also have Chris Blair, Drummond, Tompkins, KC Washington, and Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus is back. Okay. Now at tight end, you got Kyle Pitts, Austin Hooper, Joshua Simon, Charlie Warner. Now, somebody said the other day, and I think this was at work, just go ahead and make Kyle Pitts the wide receiver. Go ahead and just do it. And I'm like, well, with Hooper there, we know what we can get out of Hooper. Hooper can catch the ball. Hooper can get open. So why not? I wouldn't mind that as much. Drake number 1, Kyle Pitts number 2, Dotson as your third. Throw Zacchaeus in there to go over the top a few times. Now, I think Dotson, I've seen some highlights. I think he can get down the field a little bit. But that's the other thing about the wide receiver room. It's like, when are we going to have a consistent threat to go downfield? And then will we draw up anything to go downfield? Because sometimes it just didn't seem like it was that important last year. So I'm not expecting Kyle Pitts to go downfield, 40 yards, sprint, anything like that. But he can get open and he can run pretty good, right? So in the right scenarios, that could get you a 30-yard, streak down the field. But he can catch the ball. He can get open. Now, did he prove enough to say, hey, we can do this every year? Maybe. I mean, it's not like he hadn't had the talent. He just hadn't been producing. So that's an option. I'm just throwing stuff out there. Now, as far as our guards and centers and everything like that, we got Ryan at center. You got Bergeron, Hinton, Corey Levin, Chris Lindstrom, Stuber as our guards. And then you got Michael Jarrell, Jake Matthews, Caleb McGarry, Jack Nelson, and Storm and Norton still here at offensive tackle. Now, on the defensive side. Now, of course, because of what happened earlier, we know the whole James Pierce situation and everything. I just don't think he's going to be on the roster. And if I'm wrong, that's fine. I don't see how he could play this season. I mean, I just don't see that scenario. So for me, I'm like, he's off the list no matter what. Now, whatever happens in the calendar year, it is what it is. But I just don't see how he could play this year, if anything. So I'm looking at it as if he's not going to be on the roster. So that being said, what did you have to do to basically replace 10 sacks? Because that's what we'd be missing. Plus, missing some other players as well. That one player who I won't ever say his name again because he went to the Saints. So here's who we have so far. At defensive end, you got Sampson, Ibokam, Zach Harrison, Laquel London, Cameron Thomas at defensive end. At defensive tackle. Now, this is one thing, too. You would think that maybe, even though we did well last year with sacks, it was our best year of sacks probably in a decade plus, right? I still say, why couldn't we beef up the middle just a little bit? Can we get some guys who can we get some guys over 302 pounds? But anyway, that's just me. So at defensive tackle, you got Brandon Dorless. Here's why I say that. Brandon is 295. Elijah Garcia is 302. Deshaun Hand, 302. Rook, 295. Ben Style, 296. Chris Williams, 298. You know, now maybe again, we did very well last year. We did get pressure. Okay. In certain cases, we got more pressure than other times. But a lot of that was surrounded by our defensive ends, not so much right up the middle, right? So just saying. Now on the linebacker side, we got J.D. Bertrand coming back, Devon Diablo, Christian Harris. We got Aziz Ojulari, Channing Tyndall, Brandon Trice, Jalen Walker, of course, from UGA. Again, I just don't know what they're going to do with Pierce Jr. We'll see. Now, on the cornerback side, now this is something else that I've been talking about is having a clear number 2 next to Terrell, to AJ. And this is his 6th year now. So he's not old by any stretch of the imagination. However, you know, what is our window of having him being able to be a top cornerback in the league, right? So you have AJ, of course. You got AJ Woods. We got 2 AJs now, right? You got Clark Phillips, Mike Hughes, CJ Henderson, Mike Ford Jr., and Kobe Bryant. Also Natron Brooks. Now, some of these players actually did show a lot more promise last year per playing time and things of that nature. So we're going to see with another year under their belt, what can they do, whether it be, you know, one-on-one, whether it be in zone coverage, all those different packages or whatnot. But can we limit the big play? Can we limit the simple plays even? Like, can we get it to where we could give the defensive line one more second to get to the quarterback? Can we do that with this bunch of cornerbacks here? Remains to be seen. On top of that, we have our safeties. We have a lot of safeties. We got Jason Bates, of course. Got Billy Bowman Jr., Sidney Brown. Helms is still here. And I still think he can help us out. I just hope he can play the whole season. Tasheen Johnson is here. Jamie Robinson, Malik Verdon, and Xavier Watts, all at safety. So, and of course, special teams. This is a big one here. You got Nick Folk. Now, him at 41 years old, I'm not worried about the age that much, or the 18 years that he's been in the NFL. I know he can make the kicks. So just if we had Nick Folk a year ago, Falcons make the playoffs. That's how bad Koo was last year. And he was allowed to kick, even though everybody knew he couldn't kick. He wasn't hitting anything, and we still let him kick. How many games before we finally said, no, you can't kick no more? It was too late then. Those games that he couldn't kick in made the difference between at least 9-8 and 8-9. But we should have won 10 games last year. But anyway, we also have a new punter for the first time in a long time. Pinion will not be back there. We have a new punter. His name is Jake Bailey. We also have somebody on the roster named Trenton Gill, so I don't know who's going to be. I don't know if that's a kickoff or anything like that, fighting for that position. And then you got Liam McCullum as our long snapper. So how do you feel in regards to what we did do in free agency? You know, a lot of this was more so depth. And a lot of people, again, when you look at it from just outside looking in, it doesn't look like we really did a lot. However, just from what we didn't have a year ago, I think the transition, it really will depend on the quarterback play. But did we do enough to at least go to 9-8? No, we're not. We're probably not going to win the Super Bowl this year. But can we go 9-8? Can we just not be under 500 anymore? Right? Like last year, we would have had the opportunity for the division as well. Last year, again, a lot of bad coaching, most of it. But we had enough to be at least 9-8, possibly win the division, and be in the playoffs a year ago. So did we do enough? Now, again, losing those 10.5 sacks is going to be a lot. And it's not just the 10.5 sacks, it's the threat of the sack as well. Because there was 10.5 sacks, but the other stuff that James Pierce did to get other people sacks, you're missing that as well. So again, that portion of the defense is a lot gone right now. And again, scheme-wise and everything is going to come into play another year with our defensive coordinator. Can he make up for that? Probably. I think so. Maybe. I don't know. I hope so. Right. But that's what I'm mostly worried about, because here we go on the offensive side, of course, Tua. By the way, if you're watching this or whenever you do get to watch this, if you have a comment, make sure you hit the comment section. I forgot to mention that earlier. And of course, make sure if you're watching this, subscribe to the IMTN Worldwide Radio page. It's been scrolling on the bottom there. Let at least one Atlanta sports fan know about the show. Again, I'm trying to get back a little bit regular. We'll see how far I can get. It's almost a 30-minute mark, so I'm about to do the transition. But with the Falcons on the offensive side of the ball, again, you got Tua there. Probably 95% he's going to be the starting quarterback next year. And for how long? Not sure. And again, my iffiness on Tua really just comes not with his play, because he can throw the ball. We've seen that. We've seen it, right? He's led the league in passing yards one year, right? So it's not that, it's those concussions. And if he gets hit again, you see what I'm saying? Where do we stand? And that's probably why we got Trevor Siemian a little bit as a backup. Let's see if I can pull him up real quick. Because with him, let's just say, again, I don't know how many games we're talking about that Penix is not going to be able to play. What in the world? But let's just assume it's at least 4 games. So we need somebody to go 2-2, right? At minimum. Let's see, Trevor Siemian, when he was getting actual starts, he went 8-6 and 5-5. He had 1 year, the 8-6 year, threw for 3,400 yards, had 18 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. The next year after that, he was 5-5, a lot less yards. Didn't play a lot, you know. Yeah, 12 touchdowns so not too good of a year that second year. But he can throw the ball. You know, he can get the ball down the field. Looking at some of these other numbers here. Is that New Orleans he played for? That's horrible. But he could be server. So remember, it's the sum of all parts. So whoever the quarterback's going to be, they're going to have Drake London and Bijan Robinson and Kyle Pitts. You can't really mess that up, right? Offensive coordinator can mess it up by not calling the right plays. We saw that last year, right? So that's going to be a little bit there. But if it's Tua, though, Tua can definitely get the ball to all these guys, right? And if we have any semblance of a running game like we did a year ago, that part should be okay. If we can protect the quarterback, which is going to be the biggest thing now, because you can't have Penix come back and then not be able to protect him. Like, that should be like, you're going to get fined $1 million if the quarterback hits the turf. It should be that serious at this point, because all the other winning franchises, you know what they do? They protect their quarterback. That quarterback never hits the ground, right? Outside his first season, which was a disaster, right, as far as all those interceptions and stuff like that. Did Peyton Manning hit the ground a whole bunch after that? They protected him, right? Especially in Denver. He never went down in Denver, right? 55 touchdowns, you couldn't go down throwing all those touchdowns, right? So, you know, what was his name? I forgot his name. Brady, that guy in New England. How many times did Brady hit the ground in New England? You see what I'm saying? So when you look at that aspect, how come it's not so important with other teams? And how come it's not important for the Falcons to make sure your guy don't go down? How many more touchdowns would Matt Ryan had if he wasn't on the ground all the time, running for his life, right? So, again, I don't know how many games Penix is going to miss. And, again, this whole inference that there's going to be a quarterback controversy and all this kind of stuff, I don't know why you would try to set that up as such to say, well, when Penix gets healthy, he's going to have to battle with Tua. Now, if Tua is, let's just say it's 5 games, 5-0, has 20 touchdowns or something stupid or whatever like that, yeah, it'd be kind of hard to all of a sudden bench Tua and put Penix in there. That's being honest about it. But at the same time, you kind of might have to do it because either he's the starting quarterback or he isn't. You picked him after you gave Kirk Cousins $1 billion, right? And then when Kirk couldn't play, and it was obvious last year, you put Penix in there. He's a starting quarterback. Then Penix got hurt, and you had to put Kirk Cousins back in there, right? So now when Penix comes back, is he the starter or not? I think you have to basically, for the sake of the team, say he is the starter. Tua is your backup. Tua would be a pretty good backup. That's depth, right? When it gets down to it, right? So, and let me just go ahead and do this real quick since I got it kind of pulled up. Let's see if I can find it real quick. And then I'm going to get to the Hawks. I guess that game will be over by now. Oh, that's not what I want. Let's try this. And then I'm going to get off the Falcons. There we go. Tua stats. So just for people who don't know, here's what he's done in the last few years. First of all, in his career, he has 18,000 yards passing. He's 44-32 career record. So for those who might be like, oh, Tua is terrible and everything, that's just a lie. In 2022, he was 9th in MVP voting. You can't be sorry and be 9th in MVP voting, right? The year after that, he threw for 4,600 yards in the NFL, right? That actually happened. He had 29 touchdowns, 25 the year before that. Now, this past season, of course, though, he was 6-8. Team wasn't really, doing that much. Tyreek Hill was gone, right? You threw 20 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. Really bad on the interceptions, right? But he's had some actually good seasons. Okay, so that's who we would have here as a 27-year-old backup, basically. 28 years old, I guess it'll be this year. Okay, he's above 500 in record, almost 20,000 passing yards, 120 touchdowns. It's no slouch. He has 120 touchdowns and 59 interceptions, and 15 of those were last year, right? So we can always be like, well, who was he really throwing into, Was he really getting a lot of protection out there, Or was he even right? I don't know. Like I said, all those are factors to where can we eliminate all of that going into this year with the Falcons? We need him for 4 games or 6 games, whatever it is. Can we be at 500 or above 500? Penix comes back and we go, right? We're going to find out. So that is all for the Falcons for tonight. Now, usually back in the day, there would be commercial breaks right now, things of that nature. I'm not quite ready to do all of that just yet. Again, this was on the fly. I decided to do this show early this morning, so I didn't really plan a lot of this out. But we're going to go ahead and transition over to the Hawks. And too bad I don't have my regular music for the Hawks. But I'll see if I can find that eventually and see if it'll let me add it on here and don't get me shut down on the internet. But the Atlanta Hawks. So what will the Hawks have to do to clinch the 6th spot? Now, where we are right now, well, actually, before I even get into that, let's go ahead and find out what the final score was because they were playing, excuse me, the Boston Celtics. And this screen looks like it's frozen. So let me hit refresh real quick. Will it let me? Here we go. So the final score, 112-102. Let's see who did what real quick. Jaylen Brown looks like he had the worst game of his life. He shot the ball 29 times to get his 29 points tonight. It must have came back a little bit then, I guess. It was too little too late. Jordan Walsh at 8 points. Luka Garza had 20 points. Yeah, 20-9 actually. Baylor Schellerman only had 3. Derek White also had a bad game, had 7 points. Pritchard was not allowed. That's why we won the game right there. Pritchard wasn't allowed to have 36 points in the ball game off the bench. Who was guarding him? But he did have 16 points. He was 6 of 14 from the floor, 4 of 6 from 3. The bench didn't really do anything. Hauser only had 7 points. Mari Williams only had 4. Hugo had 5. And Charles Bassey had 3. That was it. For the Atlanta Hawks, Dyson Daniels, again, really good from the floor, 8 of 11. He had 2 or 3 from 3 tonight. Look out. Watch out. Had 5 assists, 2 steals, 18 points. Jalen Johnson, he had 20 and 12. We needed all 12 of those rebounds for sure, I'm sure. Double O, he had 4 threes tonight. He had 20 points, 10 boards. NAW didn't have the best shooting night. It was 6 of 16. Neither did CJ. Also 6 for 17 and 14 points respectively. Off the bench, Kuminga actually did have 10 points. So that double digits. Somebody had double digits off the bench. Zach ended up with 9, hit all of his threes. That's good. Kuminga didn't hit a 3. Looks like we only shot 38 threes. That I can live with. I've been saying we cannot sustain shooting between 45 and 50 threes a game and expect to win a playoff series. I just don't think that's sustainable. But we hit 15 threes tonight. Let's go to the game chart real quick and see if we won any categories. We only gave up 30 points in the paint. Second chance points, we did give up 17 second chance points. We did give up 16 fast break points. That sounds like how they came back because we were winning this game kind of handily for a minute. Let's see, what else? We didn't get out rebounded. That's good. And I mentioned they didn't really kill us on 3. So that's how you can win a game. You win all of these categories there. Although we really just kind of evened those out. We didn't really win. We lost second chance points again. Even though we didn't get out rebounded, but we lost the second chance points. Fast break points was even, but still 16 fast break points. That puts you in a position to, have a lead gone. That is one thing that I have been noticing. We've been blowing a lot of leads. We had a 21-point lead in this game. Okay. It's the 3rd game on the road. Technically, we lost a big lead. So again, you hope that that does not become a pattern. A couple of years ago, it actually did. And I talked about that, and I showed the video of the actual games, shot for shot, how you gave up 50 points to Malachi Flynn. In 3 games in a row, you gave up 18 or more threes in 3 straight games. And we lost all 3 of those games. And that basically lost you, really, those 3 games right there, lost you home court for the play in that particular year. It just happened like that. And no, that other player wasn't in the lineup for those who wanted to ask that question real quick. So that being said, Hawks won this game. Now, here's what I wanted to talk about with the Hawks, because I'm talking about the playoffs, the 6th seed. One of the reasons that I've been saying for weeks now was that as we're beating the teams we're supposed to beat, all these 40-loss teams, 45 losses, teams that don't got their best players at all on there, nothing like that. You're supposed to beat all those teams, right? But what happens when you start playing the teams that are 1, 2, 3, 4 in the league, in the conference, I should say? Because I've said you got to beat Orlando twice, you got to beat the Celtics twice, you got to beat the Cavs twice, you got to beat the Pistons, beat the Knicks, and beat the Heat. All those teams are either above you or you're trying to keep them away from you, right? And if you can win all those games as well, you can be viewed as a contender. Now, initially when I said that, I didn't know Cade was going to go down. I didn't know Jason Tatum was going to be back, right? Now, these games that we just played against the Celtics, neither Jalen and Tatum were playing in both games. Either one or the other played. We lost the one, we won this one. So I don't know who's better, Jason Tatum or Brown. I don't know. Throw it up, toss up. What's it called? Toss a coin. But this is a potential team we might see in the playoffs. So you need to win both of those games. You need to beat the Cavs both games. You need to beat the Knicks straight up. You need to win all these games, right? The other reason I said you need to win them is because of tiebreakers. Here's where everybody is now. I don't know if it updated it already. Let's see. Here's where everybody is in the conference as of the. Wait a minute, this is the division. Switch this back to conference. Here's where everybody is in the conference as of now. Let's see if it included the Hawks win tonight. I believe it did. Yes. So here I'm gonna go from 6 down because 5th is too many. It's a lot of games because I'll start from 5th. So 5th. The Toronto Raptors, they have 30 wins in the conference, 16 losses. Okay. The Hawks are in 6th right now with 24 wins, 22 losses. Philadelphia is under us by 2 games, 24 and 24 in the conference. We know Joel Embiid is now back, right? 8th is the Magic. As bad as they've been playing, they're 24 and 24 in the conference, tied with Philadelphia. 9th place is the Miami Heat, 24 and 22. That's the exact conference record we have, right? And then you got the Charlotte Hornets. They're 23 and 24. So basically, you're talking about a 2-game difference between 6 and 10 just in the conference record. Now, of course, with the record, the Hawks are now 43 and 33. Philadelphia is 1 game behind us, 41 and 34, right? The Magic, as bad as they've been playing, are only 2 games in the loss column at 39 and 35. Then you have the Heat, 40 and 36, so 3 games. And then the Hornets again, 39 and 36. So they're just 3 games. So you're talking about 3 games separating 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots. Okay. So that's why I said 2 months ago, basically, if you remember when we beat the Suns, I said we needed a 10-game win streak then. We had 25 losses then. And I said we need to get to 31 and 25. From where we were right there, if we had did that then, we'd be much better situation than now. And I was told, well, we can't do that, Chris. That don't seem like it's possible to do that. And my first thing was, why not? I'm gonna keep saying it. We had JJ, who's an all-star, NAW averaging 20 plus, CJ averaging 18. Okongwu and Dyson doing basically what they did a year ago, except Dyson can't hit a 3 to save his life, right? But we have enough to where we should have been able to do that. And again, it took us a long time to get back to 500, right? Then we got the 10-game win or 11-game win streak, right? And I said, well, again, we were able to run into probably one of the most favorable schedules I've ever seen. That's a fact. I can prove it real quick. Here. Let's see if I can do this. I don't know if this will pull up on the fly, but let me try it. Is this it? I think so. And hopefully my computer doesn't crash because I got too many windows up. I've been editing from this photo shoot that I did the other day. Oh, come on. It's not going to let me do it, is it? I think this is the wrong one. Oh, no. Yeah, this is the wrong one. This is not what I want. This is what I wanted. All right. So here's what we did. Okay. Remember, we had lost 3 in a row, February 7th to February 11th, right? We got beat by Charlotte 2 out of 3 times. We lost to Minnesota. We beat Philadelphia. Then we lost to Miami, which is why we got beat Miami again, right? Then we beat Brooklyn Nets, the Washington Wizards back-to-back, right? Portland Trail Blazers, Milwaukee, Philadelphia, Dallas, Brooklyn, Milwaukee again, Orlando, Dallas. We lost to Houston. Then we beat Golden State, beat Memphis, big win against Detroit, got beat by Boston. We beat Sacramento Kings, and we just beat Boston, okay? There's a lot of teams here You have 40 losses. Okay, that is a fact, and we beat all of them. You're supposed to do that. We beat a couple of teams that either didn't have their best player or that best player was there, and it didn't really matter because it was, well, we're talking about Milwaukee, obviously, right? Philly, they didn't have Joel Embiid that night. It was Maxey and well, actually, they were missing a few people that night, but we beat them. Okay, we destroyed Portland. Supposed to do that. We destroyed Washington back to back. Right. That Brooklyn game was a little bit closer than it should have been. I remember that game. Of course, we just recently beat Sacramento. We're supposed to beat Sacramento. Right? They don't got nobody there. Now, here's who we have next. Orlando. We got to beat them. Okay. Brooklyn. I don't know if MPJ is playing or not, but we got to beat them. Can't fool around and lose that game. Okay. We got to beat the Knicks. And like I said, we got to beat Cleveland. This is back to back. We got to beat Cleveland back to back. And then finish the season April 12th against Miami at Miami. We need to win that game. Because like I said, right now, sixth place is there. Okay. And about a month ago, I said there's an outside chance we could get sixth place. It depends on what everybody above us does, but we could do it. A lot of stuff would have to happen. Those things have happened. We're in sixth. And the other thing I said, no matter what, we've made it possible to where we're going to be in the play-in. Even if the worst things happen, we'll be in the play-in because we basically have eliminated the Bucks, right? The Bucks the Bucks are out of it. So this is the group right here, 6 through 10. Hornets, Miami, Orlando, the Philadelphia 76ers, right? So that's what you got to do. And again, I say you need to win all those games. If you were to win all of those games, how many games is it? That's going back this way. After tonight, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You got 6 games left. That would put us 49 wins for the season. Detroit has 54 wins. Boston has 50 wins. The Knicks have 48 wins at the moment. I don't know what they're going to do their last 6, 7 games or whatever. But if you could win all those games, again, there's an outside chance you can be in 4th, right? Well, let's just say you clinch 6th. Who are you playing in the first round? It could be the Knicks, but it also could be the Cavaliers as well. Just as easy. Guess what? Boston fools around. It could be we're playing the Boston Celtics in a series. And that's what I've been talking about over the last month or so is matchups. Are we going to be able to not allow the 70 points in the paint, the 30-second chance points, 30 fast break points, getting out rebounded by 15, 17 rebounds, giving up wide open threes? I saw that Pritchard game. I wish I could have did a mini review here. 36 points by Pritchard, just hitting three, just open. Just open. That wasn't cool. I don't know who's cool with that, but that's not cool for your bench player, knowing that he averages 17 a game by default, knowing that Brown wasn't playing, that he was going to get more shots, and you couldn't lock him down. What happens when we're in a series with Tatum and Brown out there, White's hitting shots, right? And I forget their center's name. Luka is not their usual center, obviously. That other guy is a pretty decent guy, right? He wasn't playing tonight either, So I know some of these guys on Boston. So, again, if it's the Celtics, if it's the Knicks, who do you think the Hawks have the best shot at eliminating in the first round? Because really it comes down to that's what needs to happen. The worst thing that could happen right now is we clinch the 6th spot. We're in the playoffs for sure. We're playing in the first round, then we get eliminated in the first round. That'd just be bad. I'll be the one to say it. That would be horrible. That would be horrible. If we were to dip below 6, let's just say we were in the 7th spot and we win and we're in, right? And at the 7th spot, again, you're technically going to be either playing Boston or New York, possibly, right, in the series. If you was to get in the 8th, then you're looking at what? The Cavaliers, possibly. Can you beat the Cavaliers in the series? I don't know because of that size again. That size differential with Jared and Mobley. And then now you have the Beard there, step back, step back, step back, left-handed three, and Spotter out there. Again, they haven't played consistently for bits and periods of the year, but they're still 46 and 28. They've won 30 games in the conference for a reason, right? So they're not no slouch either. Toronto is just mystifying, they're just who they are or whatever, but they're a dangerous team too because they could possibly, they have certain players on that team, that could hurt you in either on offense and or defense. If they get hot at the right time, you never know. Again, the 76ers, if Joel is healthy and back, is Joel. We've never stopped Joel Embiid in 8 years, except for once in the playoffs, right? And of course, you have the Miami Heat and the Charlotte Hornets. The Hornets is probably the most dangerous team out there just because they're just going to keep shooting. They're just going to keep shooting and just hope for the best, I guess. They don't care about no defense, but they're going to keep shooting. And if they hit their shots, they can beat anybody for sure, right? If they hit their shots. So, and then the Miami Heat, they got a really good coach there. Tyler Hero, Bam, that group there. Norman Powell. Again, in the series, the coach series, they can knock out somebody too. So again, those are just some of the things I've been thinking about with this last little bit of stretch of the season here. Again, as of the moment, we would be playing the Knicks as the 3rd seed versus the 6th seed. As of today, can you beat the Knicks in a straight-up series? You can beat them in a game. We've done that once. Can we do it again? We need to. But can you beat that team in a series? Brunson, Cat, Bridges, the rest of them? That remains to be seen. We'll have to see. Right now, in the play-in, you got the Hornets versus the Heat. I think the Hornets beat the Heat. You have the Magic playing the 76ers. If the Magic basically go how Paolo goes, if he plays well, they can beat the Sixers probably. Otherwise, the Sixers probably win that with Maxey and Joel Embiid, along with their assorted players. Edgecombe, right? So that'd be an interesting, bracket right there. Don't really want to talk about the Western Conference. Who cares there? So what do y'all think? Like I said, I know I didn't really, post this anywhere, promote it. I might do that later on, but that's it for the Hawks. Like I said, let me know what you think. Comment. Do you think the Hawks can clinch the 6? Do you think they've done enough to not be in the play-in? Okay, because right now, per the record, they might have, but you still got games here, and again, we're so close. That's why I brought that up. These last few games are the season right now, right? So I say you got to win all of them. Don't even take no chances. Win all of them, end up with 49 wins, and then see what happens. Maybe all the other teams will win as well. Again, tiebreakers and stuff like that. Again, unfortunately, we lost a lot of games, after December that we probably shouldn't have lost, right? We lost to the Wizards once. You see what I'm saying? So there's those type of games that we lost, for no reason at all. So that being said, I'm going to go and get out of here. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this evening. Again, I'm going to try to start getting a little bit more regular. I don't know if I'm going to do Mondays. Mondays could be a night I can do it. But I really want to try to do 2 shows a week. If I can get to that point, that'll be cool. But again, make sure you subscribe to the IMTN Worldwide Radio YouTube channel. Make sure you let at least one person know about the show. The next show, I'm probably going to try to do some Atlanta United. I'm probably going to try to do a little Atlanta vibe with the volleyball team. I think the professional golf team is playing now as well. I have to look that up and check them out. I know the College Park Skyhawks, I think, are finished their season. I think they're about to go. I don't know if they're going to the playoffs or not. I'll have to check on that. But like I said, I talk about all Atlanta sports. Probably will try to sneak in a little bit of college if I can. I'll find out what's going on at UGA. I heard something about Coach screaming over the intercom or something like that. I have to kind of look that up or whatnot. But yeah, like I said, we talk all Atlanta sports here on the show. Hopefully, my co-host Jordan Jackson will be able to join us next time as well. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Y'all take care. This is Chris around the ATL. Till next time. Peace.
Dribble, pass, throw, catch, hit, slide, grab, respect.